Hello everyone. So Canadian President Trudeau, or is he Prime Minister? Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's a clown either way. Has invoked national emergency over Freedom Convoy protests. Uh, let's see what he is up to. The Canadian Civil Liberties Association has condemned PM Justin Trudeau for invoking the Emergencies Act, claiming in a Monday tweet that Canadian federal government has not met the threshold necessary. By the way, emergencies are invoked usually during war times or something like, some sort of a natural calamity or a disaster happens. Not something like this. I mean, these are protesters fighting for their freedoms and rights. The Emergencies Act can only be invoked when a situation seriously threatens the ability of the Government of Canada to preserve the sovereignty, security, and territorial integrity of Canada. So, neither are these protesters affecting the sovereignty. It's not like they are asking for states to secede from Canada. So there is no impact to the sovereignty. There is no impact to the territorial integrity, of course. Security, yes, you may debate, if these protests are non-violent and peaceful, or they are violent and not peaceful. Yeah, there are both sides to the story, but this one for sure doesn't pass the sniff test, and this is just a desperate act from a desperate man. There's nothing else you can say. I mean, it's just a desperation, and that's exactly what the Canadian Civil Liberty Association is reflecting here. Crazy. Has Trudeau created a political emergency? Yes. This guy is insane. And actually, let's do a Google. Ontario removing vax passport. Yeah. So here we have it. Ontario is removing vax passport system from March 1st and masking requirements to remain in place. So even the main reason why the protests started by truckers, the proof of vaccination, is no longer in question anymore. So Ontario is taking away. So not sure why the hell Trudeau is getting so desperate. Probably because the truckers are not backing down or backing off, and they are asking for him to resign, or um, you know maybe because he, even if truckers back off, he has to save his face, and that's where he is coming from. I don't know why this guy is behaving like that. Canadian PM Trudeau invoked sweeping emergency police powers Monday in his latest attempt to stamp out dissent from citizens protesting vax mandates and other sickness restrictions. This is not a peaceful protest, a Canadian leader told reporters in Ottawa alongside top cabinet officials. The federal government is stepping in because local police authorities have had difficulty enforcing the law. Not sure this is true statement. Police didn't have any chance against huge overwhelming crowd. I mean, What did this guy Trudeau expect police to do? Shoot them or fight them? I mean, the police couldn't have done anything else except for just maintaining law and order. Um, if anything, police was pretty heavy-handed in quashing the protest at Ambassador Bridge, connecting Windsor with Michigan. So yeah, this is about keeping Canadians safe, protecting people's jobs, and restoring confidence in our institutions. I mean, how the hell is he saying with a straight face protecting people's job? If anything, the vax mandates are taking away his jobs. That was the whole reason why truckers started the movement, because they wouldn't have been able to earn their wages and they were going to lose their jobs. And what the hell this kind of world this guy lives in? Um, the new never before used law gives Trudeau an in effect martial law control over everything and everyone, and not all of the Canada is behind him. Yeah, so premiers of Alberta, Manitoba, Quebec, Saskatchewan opposed Trudeau's decision to invoke Emergency Act on truckers. And as I just showed you, Ontario is also um, is going to be not implementing vax passports. So his first act, it appears, was to choke off any funding for the protesters by broadening its anti-money laundering rules to cover crowdsourcing sites, threatening them with financing terrorism. Unbelievable. And these are the concerns I really have with the governments all over the world. Um, the all the countries and their systems are so out of whack because of the debt burdens and the money printing. In order to cling to their power in their ultimate and desperate attempts, majority of those countries will do something like this. And I have been saying this over and over as well, that just so that public doesn't get caught off guard, they should have some of their assets outside of the system, because anything that is within the system, they can just dictate terrorism and take away your rights for you to be banked, financial freedom, your travel freedoms, whatnot and whatnot. And what by invoking this any money anti money laundering rules, what he is saying that anybody who is doing crowdsourcing for the truckers, they cannot disperse that money, all that is frozen. um, so Canada authorizes banks and financial institutions to temporarily cease providing financial services where the institutions suspect that an account is being used to further the illegal blockades and occupation. There you go. So if any account has been found to further the illegal blockades and occupation, in other words, donating money to the blockade or protesters, there you go. You cannot bank anymore. So they will seize your financial accounts. And what do you do? I mean, with no recourse. This new law applies to personal and corporate accounts and covers all form of transactions including cryptocurrencies. A bank or other financial service provider will be able to immediately freeze or suspend an account without a court order. There you go. So without a court order, they can just freeze your account, done deal. You know, you're shit out of luck. Banks will be protected against civil liability for actions taken in good faith. So because government is telling the banks to do this, you cannot take any actions against the banks. So yeah, this is what desperate Canadian government is doing. Um, I don't know how this is going to play out, because certainly government has unlimited resources available to them. Having said that, they would not be able to jack if protesters and public stands with them. They will have to bow down. I mean, government will have to bow down. They won't be able to do anything. I mean, as I always say, there is a lot more of us than them. And so far, these emergency powers, they haven't invoked bringing military to enforce their heavy-handedness yet. But if I'm not mistaken, Emergency Act allows that as well. But if things go to that level, yeah, that means it's things have gotten really out of control in Canada. Then it's just going to be bloodshed. I sure hope it doesn't come to that. I mean, if the stupid guy is desperate enough to do something like that, yeah, I won't use any words here, but things are going to get very bad. I sure hope it doesn't come to that. Moving on, in another bizarre news, GiveGo, which was the second platform chosen by the Convoy protesters, have been hacked, and donor list is now exposed. Pro-establishment hackers ranting about misinformation and the dangers of opposing government mandates hit crowdfunding platform GiveGo on Sunday, posting a manifesto which scrolled over a scene from Disney movie Frozen, while also releasing a list of donors to the 8.6 million Freedom Convoy fundraiser. So the donor list is now out, and if you read this with these powers and marry those two together, if the donor list is available to government, they can essentially start taking action against those individuals and their banking accounts now. So it remains to be seen what will happen here as well, but not a good news for the freedom protesters. Another bizarre news, I mean, shouldn't surprise us at all anymore. Canadian media is pushing a crackpot theory that truckers are Russian agents. Yeah, I mean, take it for what it is. It's outrightly stupid to claim something like that. But hey, you know what? That's the world we live in. As the Canadian Freedom Convoy rolls on and continues to influence other protesters around the globe, Canadian media continues to push outright disinformation by suggesting that the Russian government is behind the movement. And what is their rationale? The tenuous reasoning behind the theory is that Canada has expressed support for Ukraine during the country's ongoing tensions with Russia. There you go. I mean, yeah, I mean, look at the IQ level that Russia is supporting the Freedom Convoy. Anyway, that's the news on Freedom Convoy protests. We'll keep you updated on this, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.